that you lay down and made with two different men and don't know who the father is, and you sitting up here talking about they not man enough to do this, then he not man enough to do this, when you not woman enough to know and have a baby and don't know which one's the daddy, you the one that's going to be responsible till you figure out who's the daddy.
Mr. Baker doubts if he's Caleb's biological father because he had a vasectomy and shouldn't be able to give birth. However, his wife, Felice, sues him to a paternity court hoping that a DNA test would prove that he's Caleb's father. Not fazed by the lawsuit, he appears before Judge Lauren curious to find out if it is scientifically possible for him to father his spouse's infant. And here is how it began.
Ms. Baker, you say the fate of your marriage is riding on today's DNA results. You are suing to prove that your 3-month-old son, Caleb, was fathered by your husband, Mr. Baker.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, Mr. Baker, you say it's medically impossible for you to have a child, and therefore Caleb cannot be yours. You say if the DNA results prove you are not the father, you will leave your wife and family.
Yes, Your Honor.
Although there's a tiny chance that men who went through vasectomy could father children, Mr. Baker believes his case is different. Getting pregnant was difficult for his wife as she blacked out most of the time as a result of her excessive drinking habit. According to her statements, she doesn't remember most of the things that happened during that period.
I was drinking quite a bit. I was drinking pretty much every day, and I was blacking out at night, and I wouldn't remember periods of time I wouldn't remember.
Whether you were intimate with another man or not.
Yes, Your Honor. It's not fair to Mr. Baker, and I love him with all my heart.
Mr. Baker, before this, was there a lack of trust in the relationship?
The curious man says when they started the relationship, they didn't do things the right way. It started as an extramarital affair. Although they were in love from the beginning, it was pointless as he didn't trust her completely.
Well, Your Honor, to be completely honest, when Felice and I had gotten together, the way that we got together was I had done some work in her home, and that's the way that we met. And we didn't do everything right. And I don't condone the actions that we took in our relationship. I was married, she was married. And whenever you have two people who are in a monogamous relationship...
Mrs. Baker had been on Oprah with her former husband, and her overspending habit was televised. For more spice, the judge remembers the episode and reminds her about the lies she told to hide the truth.
I mean, to the point where, that had put her in national limelight because she was overspending behind his back.
So you had instances in your previous marriage.
Yes, I do.
That you said were revealed on the national stage, the limelight.
Well, I know that she had went on a very public show.
Which show did you go on?
The Oprah Winfrey Show.
After she missed her menstrual period for 3.5 months, Felice thought she hit menopause. Eventually, she had a pregnancy test, and the result was positive. Her husband didn't believe the result, so they bought 2 expensive tests from a different store, but the results were still positive.
I noticed I was getting a little bit of a belly, and it had been 3.5 months since I had a period. Actually, I thought I was going through menopause, and I mentioned to Mr. Baker that I, hadn't had my menstrual cycle in 3 months, and he said, well, if you're pregnant, it's not for me. And so we went to the store and got a pregnancy test, and it at that time came out positive.
The judge asks Mr. Baker what his thoughts were after he discovered the pregnancy, and he responds saying he did some research on the internet. His research was on what could cause a false pregnancy test. According to his research, if she's not pregnant due to his vasectomy, she probably had a tumor or cancer in her belly.
When you found this out, Mr. Baker, what was your first thought?
I went on the internet. I Googled what can cause a false positive. And there's only 4 conditions that a false positive will show up on a pregnancy test. Obviously, number 1 is pregnancy. Number 2 is ovarian cancer. Number 3 is uterus cancer. Number 4 is any cancerous tumors in the uterus. I never slept that night.
Mr. Baker continues saying he couldn't sleep that night, but he went to work the following day. While at work, Felice called him and was crying over the phone hysterically because she thought she was dying of ovarian cancer. Confused and in need of clarity, the couple went to see a doctor who confirmed that she was pregnant, which made him doubtful.
Went to work the next day. She calls me up at 11 o'clock crying hysterically. And I said, honey, what's wrong? She says, I'm not pregnant. I said, what do you mean you're not pregnant? How do you know? She goes, I'm dying of ovarian cancer.
Because
I have every symptom. Because she went and researched.
Looked up the same thing.
Yes.
Yes, I looked up the same thing the following day and, read the cancer. So that's when I thought maybe I had.
Eventually, a specialist provided facts about vasectomy to the courtroom. According to the specialist, getting a vasectomy done is is a 50-50 chance, so it's advisable to check back twice at the hospital regularly.
We're checking a sperm count to make sure that there's still no sperm and to make sure that that tube did not grow back together.
And that was the follow-up that he missed.
Correct.
Where they would have checked to see if potentially it almost would have reconnected itself.
Exactly. So when we look at this, it does not make it impossible for him to father a child. He should have about a 1.5% chance of fathering a child.
Does this mean Mr. Baker could actually be the baby's biological father? The only way to find out is through the DNA test result. Let's dig in.
Mr. Baker, you are the father.
Thank you. I love you too.
You know, this is a courtroom where very special things happen, right, bro? But this, I must say,
It's just been a very tough road, and we've had to rebuild walls that were broken down.
Miss Cole claims Mr. Daniel Cooper is the father of her child and not her ex, Mr. Jacobs. However, her ex is suing her to court to claim her son, Samar, as his. Miss Cole admits she allowed Mr. Jacobs to name the baby, sign the birth certificate, bond with the child, and pay his child support. Mr. Cooper, on the other hand, isn't on the same page with her.
paying child support for 3-year-old Samar, but say your ex is now telling people that you are not his biological father, and you're suing today to prove that Samar is your son.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, Ms. Call, you admit to allowing Mr. Jacobs to name the baby, sign the birth certificate, and pay support for your son, but now say Samar's real biological father is another man.
Mr. Jacobs claims he was receptive when she told him about the pregnancy, but she cuts in saying he denied the baby. Later on, she told him there's a possibility that the baby belonged to someone else, so they stopped talking.
I would say about a month or so, coming back home the first time, it was, my neighbor had told me that, a young lady had stopped by to look for you and everything like that. And the next day, she was actually sitting outside my apartment, and she was sitting with a friend, and, she was fat and everything. She was big. It was like, all right, I'm pretty shocked by it. I asked, would you like to go for a walk and everything like that? And that's when she had told me that she was pregnant and everything.
However, he was at the hospital when the baby was born, and he fell in love with him at first sight. Hence, that made him sign the birth certificate.
You went from not going to any doctor's appointments to signing the birth certificate.
Yes, ma'am.
How did we get there?
I was there for the whole birth.
The whole thing?
Yes, ma'am.
And you signed the birth certificate?
Correct.
Why did you sign the birth certificate? At that moment, were you sure you were this child's biological father?
Yes, Your Honor.
You were?
Yes.
And why were you sure?
I was sure about it because when she was in the C-section, they had brought Samar out to me.
Also, Mr. Jacobs' mother had called him while he was at the hospital, and she told him not to sign the birth certificate. However, he signed it anyway.
I had called my mother when I went to go pick up the car seat. I had told my mom that she had the baby, and that she told me not to sign the birth certificate. And, like I said, I felt that it was mine at the moment, that time and moment, because of the connection that we had. So, I did sign the birth certificate. I mean, I have the documents right here with me.
I'd like to see that, sir.
All right.
Jerome, will you hand them to me, please? So, your mother said, do not sign this. She said, do not.
According to Miss Cole's statement, Mr. Cooper is her child's daddy, because to her, they look alike. She confirmed this claim when she saw his baby pictures.
He's not the father.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you truly believe Mr. Cooper is the father?
Yes, Your Honor.
Why?
Your Honor, one of Mr. Cooper's family members showed me a picture of Mr. Cooper when he was 3-year-old. My son is 3-year-old now. They look just alike in them two pictures of Mr. Cooper when he was 3 and my son now that he's 3.
So you saw a picture?
Yes.
And when you saw that picture, you saw your son?
Yes.
Mr. Cooper appears before the judge saying he doesn't see any resemblance between him and Samar when the judge asks him about it. Although he caters for her and the baby when he can, he is not responsible for him.
It's like you and your family member showed her a picture of when you was 3 years old, and it looks just like Samar. Have you seen this picture?
Yes, I got that picture.
Do you see the similarity?
No, ma'am, not at all. I don't think he big. I'm real skinny. He was big ever since he came out.
Your Honor, that's because my baby eats. That's why he's so big.
I don't know. When she first had him, he was a little big. I always been skinny. And then I just don't see it.
If Mr. Cooper isn't Samar's father, could Mr. Jacobs be his father? But if he's Mr. Jacobs' son, why is Miss Cole claiming otherwise? Is she punishing him for denying the pregnancy in the first place? It's hard to tell because she met both men on the train on different occasions. Perhaps there are other men in the same category as these two men in the courtroom. There's only one way to find out.
Mr. Cooper, you are not the father.
I knew it.
Mr. Jacobs, you are not the father.
What the? Oh, hold up. Wait a minute. Calm down. Whoa. Review that. You say what?
Miss
Slow down.
You don't seem that surprised. I'm sat this bench long enough to know a real reaction.
Miss Ebony Parker appears before the judge suing Mr. Morton and his girlfriend, Miss Lemon. The lawsuit is for them denying the paternity of her child, Aaron, after having sex with both of them severally. She claims that the man's girlfriend turned him against her because she has been unable to get pregnant herself.
Miss Parker, in your suit, you claim Mr. Morton fathered your 7-month-old son, Aaron, while in a relationship with his current girlfriend.
Yes, Your Honor.
You say the only reason he denies paternity is because his girlfriend turned him against you because she's been unable to conceive a child with him.
Yes, Your Honor.
In addition to the paternity test, you're suing for $2,047 in back child expenses.
Yes, Your Honor.
During her testimony, Miss Lemon says she and her boyfriend had sex with his baby mama because Miss Parker was lonely. Also, she says her freakiness led her to making such a decision.
Well, the only reason, Your Honor, the only reason why she was able to have sex with us is because I asked my boyfriend to have sex with her because she was lonely. My desires, me and my little freakiness, I said, my boyfriend, can you have sex with your pregnant baby mother because she's in need?
Pause, Your Honor.
How would she know
Pause,
that
Your
she's
Honor.
not there?
Your Honor, that is not true. Before I even left to go anywhere, before I was gone for a while, we was having sex before then. She wanted to have sex with me.
It appears that Aaron was born when the pregnancy was 7 months old, and that made the calculations a bit confusing. However, the accuser is confident about her claims. After listening to their testimonies, Judge Lauren asks the defendant when he was with Miss Parker during the winter. His response is May 11th, which the accuser objected to.
I'm not tripping off of that. I know that that's my son's father. I know. He looks exactly like my other son.
And so you're doubtful, Mr. Morton, because you say there's a timing issue.
Yes, she
So I wanna
supposed to have got
understand your
pregnant
doubt.
in May, but from my understanding, that's only would be 7 months if she
I
had
never
my son
said I
in.
got pregnant in May, Your Honor.
Okay, hold on. Let me get my calendar so I can just understand what's going on exactly. When were you intimate?
In the heat of the moment, Miss Lemon says Miss Parker's boyfriend swears that he's Aaron's father, but the accuser had to continuously remind him that he's not, and that she had sex with him while she was already pregnant.
We down, yep, I'm clocking it.
You
just
can't
like you
clock
clock
it, though,
mine. I
baby.
can.
You can't.
We
You
downtown.
can't clock
The
it.
guy walks up to her, they talking and everything, and he swears up and down Aaron is his. She had to keep reminding him that it's not yours, boo, it's not yours. I had sex with you after he was already in my stomach.
Exactly, I said.
But you told
what did
us
I
that
just
you didn't have
say?
sex with nobody
I just
after
said
you
I
got
didn't
pregnant.
have unprotected sex. That's
She
a
all
lie,
over
'cause
the
I was
place, Your Honor. That's what
Your
it
Honor,
is.
that's a lie.
She was all over the place.
Is Mr. Morton actually Aaron's father, or is Miss Parker just forcing her son, or him? At this point, that remains a mystery. Before her boyfriend went away, the accuser claims she was pregnant with his child, but she had a miscarriage. A while after that, she had unprotected sex with her baby daddy.
Before my boyfriend went away, I was pregnant by him. That's what they're getting confused. I had a whole miscarriage, Your Honor. A whole
And she
miscarriage
had
by this
plenty of those
man.
now all of a sudden.
I had
So what you're saying is you were pregnant
before,
but you
like this was before though. This is before I got pregnant
He was only
again.
locked up
You're right.
a
He
month or
wasn't even
something.
away when I was pregnant. He was with me.
So the bottom
when I
line
was
is you
pregnant,
were in
while we was
fact
together.
pregnant by your
him.
boyfriend.
Yes, I was.
But you
After she got pregnant, she told him it wasn't his because she had a sonogram saying she was 13 weeks pregnant. However, when she went for her first prenatal appointment, a fetal test confirmed that she was 8 weeks pregnant instead.
I told him I was pregnant, and I did. I'm not gonna lie. I told him, this is not your baby. Being as though I have a sonogram telling me I'm 13 weeks. So when I go to my first prenatal appointment and they give me a fetal assessment, and they say, no, miss, you're 8 weeks pregnant. Your baby is due December the 24th.
So you went to your appointment and then your due date got adjusted.
Yes.
So initially, when you got pregnant, they gave you a certain due date.
Yes, ma'am.
And you said based upon that due date,
That
this
he
is
was
not your
not
child.
When she showed him the pregnancy sonogram, he didn't believe her. In fairness, how could he? Although he didn't accompany her for the appointments, he was there when she gave birth to Aaron.
Be on the way, they miscalculated my due date, and now I really believe it's your child. What was your response?
I had my doubts because of what she had told me.
You
at
still
first.
had doubts. Did you participate? You have a child with her already. Did you
Yes.
participate in the birth? Were you there through the pregnancy?
I didn't
Were
go
you-
to none of the appointments. I ain't show up to none of the doctor's appointments, but
have
I
a
was
picture.
there when
He's
she
talking about
had
evidence.
He's talking about Aaron.
I have a picture of him holding my son when he first came out.
Jerome, may I see that, please?
The accuser filed a lawsuit against him for harboring feelings for her son, but not accepting his his responsibilities over him. Perhaps she's right for filing a lawsuit against him for showing affection to the bae, but not taking full responsibility for his well-being.
This feeling that he steps up to the plate and takes care of other people's children,
Yeah, so
but
why
does
should
not properly take care of baby Aaron is the basis of your suit.
Right.
You're suing for $2,047 in child care expenses, things you've spent on baby Aaron since he's been born, and you say Mr. Morton's done nothing.
Besides $30 and she hand me down.
Miss Mary, the defendant's mother, appears before the judge to testify that he didn't do anything for the first child when he was born, so she doesn't want him to repeat the same ill act for Aaron. His mom genuinely believes that the newborn is his kid, and that's why she's appearing before the judge to testify.
Thank you so much for joining us. What's your name, ma'am, stated for the record?
Marie Dunlap.
Ms. Dunlap, you are?
I'm Mr. Morton's mother.
Oh, you are?
Yes.
You're Mr. Morton's mother?
Yes.
What do you have to add, ma'am?
Well, for the most part, as far as support system, when she first had baby Aaron, she did not have anything because we were supposed to try to get together a baby shower. So she did have him early. So as far as support system, it was me and my daughter, which is Eric's sister.
Is Mr. Morton's mother right about her testimony? Is he right about not his claims of not being Aaron's biological father? Let's find out together.
Mr. Morton, you are Aaron's father.
Thank you. I told you, like, I'm not no. Come on. Thank you. I need that paper so I can go down child support tomorrow morning when I get up.
Ms. Parker, you came to court with a suit in the amount of $2,047. Mr. Morton is, in fact, baby Aaron's biological father, which means you are legally obligated to care for that child, and Ms. Parker is entitled.
Miss Martin appears before the court to confirm the father of her fifth child, Romary. She claims the father of her other 4 kids, Mr. Blackman, maltreated Romary. Hence, she wants to take her kids away from him, but asks the court to award a $3,100 6 months child support. Mr. Blackman, however, doesn't believe the 5th child is his because she had confessed about cheating on him.
Ms. Martin, you say that the father of your 4 kids treats your newborn baby like an evil stepchild.
Yes.
Because he doubts paternity.
Yes, Your Honor.
You're asking the court to award you $3,100 for the next 6 months of child care expenses.
Yes, Your Honor.
The lady confesses that her feelings for Mr. Blackman went down the drain because she didn't feel loved and appreciated. Based on her statements, he has a habit of abusing her verbally and emotionally. However, the man defended himself, saying she doesn't play her motherly role for the other 4 kids properly.
I just never felt love appreciated. He always called me fat, you know, you lazy, you nasty, you don't do this, you don't do that. But how can I when I got a man saying all these things to me? Like, you expect to come home.
I can only say what I see. I can only say what I come home to.
Hold on now.
You expect to come home to a cooked meal and all of this.
Sometime.
I never even got a back rub.
Miss Martin continues her statement, saying they have been together for 6 years, during which they had 4 children together. But Mr. Martin has refused to put a ring on her finger officially. As a result, she gave him a condition which he didn't acknowledge, so she had to date someone else. This other man in the picture, Mr. Stevens, could as well be Romare's father, but who knows?
Because I gave him an ultimatum. I was ready to get married. I feel like after 6 years, why are you not ready? That's because you exploring your options. Maybe you looking for something better. I don't know. But if that's the case, then let me go.
So you left?
Yes, and he begged me to come back, and now he wants to get married.
I come back because it's around Christmas time. I ain't never spent the Christmas away from my children. I ain't begged you to do nothing.
The judge asks if she feels guilty for leaving her other kids and their father for 3 months to be with another man. Her response is no, because Mr. Blackman had been a liar and a cheater in the past. As a result, she was dealing with a lot of emotional trauma.
He did a lot. He cheated. He's not no saint. I didn't feel guilty because
no saint, but
I was faithful to him.
We were trying to build a life together.
He thought that we got past it, but I was still dealing with a lot of hurt and pain. I wanted to make it work for my kids.
You see, Your Honor, she wanted to make it work for her kids.
However, Miss Martin claims she came back to him because she loved him and their kids. Mr. Blackman, on the other hand, doesn't believe her claims.
Why did you go back?
Because I loved him. I was not in love with him, but I loved him, and I thought we had a fighting chance.
So you went back at that point. Were you faithful to Mr. Black?
Yes, Your Honor.
He's shaking his head no.
Well, let's say I don't believe that.
That smirk you did after the statement, I was faithful, did not look truthful.
When the judge asks Miss Martin about Mr. Stevens' reaction to her being pregnant, she says he was happy for a while. However, he disappeared for about 6 months.
What was his reaction?
He was happy for a minute, and then he just disappeared. He completely disappeared. I didn't hear from him for another 4 or 5 months.
Happy for a minute minute, then disappear? Jerome, I think it's time we meet Mr. Stevenson. Please escort him into the courtroom.
Thereafter, Mr. Stevens was invited into the courtroom, and he confirms that he was initially happy about the pregnancy, but disappeared afterwards. He says he had to get away from her because she always called him a deadbeat daddy and was unappreciative.
When Ms. Martin told you she was pregnant, what was your initial reaction?
First, I was happy, and then I just disappeared.
She said that. That's exactly what she said. Why did you disappear?
She kept calling me a deadbeat daddy, this and that, that and that. I got tired of listening to
Because
her.
he wasn't there. That's what you was. He brought a used car seat to the hospital.
After she gave birth to Ramere, both men came to the hospital, but none of them signed the birth certificate, so she signed it and named him after Mr. Blackman, thinking he's his.
But he had to go back home to the kid. After I had the baby, Mr. Stevenson came. He was just like, oh, well, I want a DNA test, and he want the baby to have his name. But he didn't want to sign a birth certificate. But drilling me about a last name or a name, and I gave him Blackman. My baby name is Ramir Jeremiah Blackman.
The accuser brought Mr. Blackman's sister to court as a witness. She testified that she had been caring for Ramere since he was born, because she believes her brother is his biological father.
My name is Gloria Blackman. I'm Mr. Blackman's sister.
Here as Ms. Martin's witness.
He's so far wrong. That's a baby. As far as I'm concerned, neither one of them did anything. I did everything from the day the baby was born to right now.
The judge furiously dismisses the $3,100 child support request because the accuser is playing both sides when it suits her. Apparently, the defendant's sister did most things for the child from birth.
There's somebody here that needs to be filing suit. It's Ms. Blackman. Your case is dismissed. And the worst part about it is the only people that have truly paid for these mistakes is Ramir and Ms. Black.
Mr. Stevens, however, was prepared to care for Ramere, but Miss Martin never appreciated his efforts. Who is the baby's biological father? Only one way to find out.
Mr. Stevenson, you are his father.
Come here. I know you trying to be strong. You talking.
Devastating betrayal on paternity court.
You okay? I know. You had to know. You want to sit down? Okay?
Wait.
We're going to have some resources for you. We're going to help you just talk through this. I know this is not what you want to hear.
Be clear, you did not just cheat him. You cheated her. Cheated her. You knew it could be a possibility.
And I'm afraid I'm gonna lose my husband and my family over this.
Well, this is my point. You're thinking about yourself.
Hold on tight for the Woody versus Wilson roller coaster. Michael Woody and Devonna Wilson, the stars of this dramatic tale, are getting into the nitty-gritty of the whole paternity situation. It's like a soap opera, and they're front and center dealing with the twists and turns of their story.
I have a 3-year-old daughter already, so when I found out I was having a son, I was excited because what man doesn't want to have a junior, you know? So I got plans made, you know, I'm ready to go play baseball and basketball with them and, you know, all the stuff a father's supposed to do with his son. So I'm just ready, so I'm ready to be a father to a boy now.
Standing at the podium, Michael Woody talks about why he has doubts. The courtroom gets quiet as he shares his side. Devonna Wilson wants a dad for her son, and that's her plea echoing through the room.
So this is a message from Devonna Wilson. I'm pregnant, so I hope you know we're getting a DNA test when the baby's born, and I'm hitting you up with this child support. I'll see you in court. That's your first? You're gonna be a father?
Hello.
Way harsh, Miss Wilson.
The climax arrives with the unveiling of DNA results, a moment pregnant with both fear and expectation. The revelation is a seismic jolt. Michael Woody is not the biological father. The gasp that sweeps through the courtroom echoes the shattered illusions of parenthood.
She's always said that to me out the gate. She's always said, we need a DNA test. We're gonna get it. She's said that to me out the gate. So that wasn't anything new to me. But then she also told me out of her own mouth that her friends or her family is saying that my son looked like her ex-boyfriend.
Oh.
Judge Lake, a beacon of compassion, consoles devastated Devonna and guides bewildered Michael. The courtroom becomes a cocoon of vulnerability, exposing human connections' fragility and the human spirit's resilience. Woody versus Wilson leaves an indelible mark, a tale of love tested by doubt, a journey through parenthood's labyrinth, and a reminder that heart-forged bonds endure the harshest truths.
2-month-old
Michael Woody Jr. Mr. Woody, you are not his father.
What?
Jerome, will you please have her sit down?
Here comes the twist in Webb versus Forrest. The central showdown revolves around the paternity puzzle of 2-year-old Elena Forrest. Picture this. Mr. Webb, the one making the claim, says Miss Forrest vanished, and the bomb about the pregnancy only dropped after he woke up from a coma. Now the real kicker? Nobody's certain if Mr. Webb or Miss Forrest's husband is the biological dad. It's a real head-scratcher in this family saga.
Miss Forrest, how did you get yourself in this triangle?
My husband got in some trouble, and I ended up meeting Mr. Webb through one of my friends. We hit it off, and then I ended up leaving Mr. Forrest for Mr. Webb.
So you began a sexual relationship?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, and were you using protection at the time?
No, Your Honor.
Miss Forrest, the defendant, insists that she has no doubt about her husband being Elena's father, and is desperate to put an end to the ongoing drama. Mr. Webb, however, expresses his intention to fight for full custody rights if the DNA test confirms his paternity.
Miss Forrest, you and your husband are here today desperate to put an end to this drama. You say you have no doubt your daughter's biological father is indeed your husband.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Webb, what are your intentions today if the DNA determines that you are the biological father?
My intentions are to fight for full custody rights if she is my daughter.
The courtroom exchanges reveal a complex relationship history, marked by a series of events including Miss Forrest leaving Mr. Webb, a hospitalization, and subsequent doubts about paternity. Miss Forrest argues that Mr. Webb showed disinterest during her pregnancy, while Mr. Webb contends that he was denied access to Elena, his alleged daughter.
We have set up dates. Whenever she told me that I could meet Elena, I spent the last $80 I had to put in gas. She had backed out, changed her phone number, and blocked me on Facebook. 3 weeks later,
And that's like every number I get from you, it's always
and tried
changed.
to contact her to meet Elena, and she would not contact me back.
Amidst accusations and emotional confrontations, the court orders a DNA test to determine Elena's biological father. The results, presented with dramatic flair by Judge Lake, reveal that Mr. Webb is indeed Elena's biological father.
Be clear, you did not just cheat him, you cheated her. Cheated her. You knew it could be a possibility.
And I'm afraid I'm gonna lose my husband and my family over this.
Well, this is my point. You're thinking about yourself.
The emotional aftermath in the courtroom exposes the pain, betrayal, and selfishness involved. Judge Lake chastises Miss Forrest for her actions, emphasizing the impact on Elena. The court session concludes with Mr. Webb granted the opportunity to meet his daughter for the first time in the judge's chambers, highlighting the complex and deeply personal nature of paternity disputes.
I think you need to step outside of yourself and your own selfishness and allow him to see his daughter in my chambers for the first time, so that maybe for the first time, her mother can stop thinking about herself.
In the Threcold versus Threcold saga, the court got into the nitty-gritty with a mix of marital drama and paternity questions. Mr. Threcold, a military guy, pointed fingers at his wife, saying she wasn't faithful, and he wanted a paternity test for their 18-month-old daughter, Lelina. Mrs. Threcold spilled the beans, admitting to exotic dancing because money was tight and confessing to some slip-ups while her husband was serving overseas. It's a tangled tale of relationships and revelations.
Actually, ma'am, I was overseas in Afghanistan, and I was at up in the Northeast, and a soldier of mine came up to me and tapped me on the boot, said, "Hey, I need to go outside. We need to talk right now." So earlier on in the day, me and him got into some words, so I thought we were gonna, settle it. Well, it turns out his wife and my wife were friends, and she had found out that she was actually stripping as we spoke.
The narrative unfolded with Mr. Threcold discovering his wife's alleged infidelity through a fellow soldier while deployed. Upon his return, he confronted her about the situation, leading to arguments and a strained relationship. Mrs. Threcold justified her actions by citing financial struggles and an argument that supposedly ended their marriage.
We were not together. We had a phone conversation, and he had said, we're gonna get a divorce, and I'll send you the divorce papers. And then we hung up.
I told her, look, if you're gonna strip after me and you, she says
there was reasons why I needed to.
She needed the funds to support her family. Overseas,
Yeah,
I was making $4,000 to $5,000 tax-free a month.
The courtroom drama intensified as Mr. Threkold revealed his attempt to influence the situation by intentionally trying to impregnate his wife, hoping it would deter her from exotic dancing. This revelation added a layer of complexity to an already tumultuous relationship.
I'm sitting there under a streetlight with my army bag on one side and a suitcase on the other.
No, I was waiting in the car for 30 minutes.
Your Honor,
he never showed up.
Wait. You waited in the car, so when they called his name, he says no one was there to clap or cheer. Did you hear them call his name?
We weren't at the airport. I was waiting across from his unit.
The case climaxed with DNA results confirming Mr. Threkold as Lelinia's father. Emotions varied, including relief and a recognition of the need for reconciliation. The judge emphasized moving forward, rebuilding the marriage, and contributing to family restoration. The couple, willing to make amends, hinted at a potential turning point in their tumultuous journey.
I mean, it's all together. I'm happy because I know she's his, so I would like to work on everything.
Well, ma'am, there's a reason why, because since the day it's happened, since February 2011 to be exact when I found out, there's not been a day that's gone by that I haven't let her not relive the mistake she made.
I appreciate your honesty.
The courtroom drama unfolds in Miller versus Rasmussen, centering on the paternity dispute involving 3-year-old Zaylee Rasmussen. Tensions rise as Miss Miller seeks to prove that Mr. Rasmussen is not the biological father, citing a history of denied DNA test requests. Mr. Rasmussen contends that her motive is rooted in personal animosity, alleging her reluctance to allow visitation is financially motivated.
She hates me because at the end of the relationship, when I did go to another woman.
No. He cheated on me through pretty much our whole relationship. I believe that the only reason why he wants the visitation is to claim her on his taxes.
That is furthest thing from the truth. My daughter means the world to me. I want to be in her life as much as I possibly can.
The backstory reveals Mr. Rasmussen's admission of infidelity, causing Miss Miller's loss of respect. Amid accusations and counterclaims, the court delves into the complexity of custody arrangements and child support.
Ms. Miller, you were stating to the court that you were clearly at some point, Mr. Rasmussen either was informed that he was her biological father because he is paying child support, he's still driving 160 miles each way, and she has his last name.
The turning point arrives with the judge ordering a DNA test to settle the paternity dispute. An air of anticipation engulfs the courtroom as both parties await the results. In a dramatic revelation, the DNA test confirms that Mr. Rasmussen is not Zaylee's biological father.
That's a lot of nerve considering the alternative is somebody that don't want nothing to do with you. You just showed me where your priorities were right there. That cheering you did? I'm a single mother with nobody to love me on my child. What you cheering for?
I'm not.
No, you were. He is over here breaking down because he loves this child so much.
Emotions erupt. Mr. Rasmussen is devastated, expressing his deep love for Zaylee. However, Miss Miller's celebratory reaction draws a stern rebuke from Judge Lake, who emphasizes the gravity of the situation and the potential impact on Zaylee's life.
Sitting here day after day with women hoping a man would drive 16 miles to see their baby, much less 160 miles each way, and abide by a court order and sign a birth certificate and come day after day and week after week so they can grow visitation to have a relationship with a child. And you have no compassion for not just him, but for Zaylee. She's 3 years old.
Amid the somber atmosphere, the judge urges Miss Miller to consider the consequences of her actions and recommends counseling for both parties. The court session concludes with a palpable sense of sadness, leaving Mr. Rasmussen grappling with shattered expectations and uncertainty about the future dynamics between the parties and Zaylee's paternity.
Mr. Rasmussen, I am so sorry. I know this hurts you.
Thank you, Your Honor. She's my whole world.
Your child deserves to know who her father is, wants to be in her life, physically present. He does have a legal obligation to help support her financially. It's important that you make this right.
In the legal dispute of Hayes versus Hayes, the family's tangled web unraveled as emotions ran high. Michelle Hayes accused her sister Shayna of betraying their sister bond by engaging in an affair with Michelle's husband of 10 years, Corey Hill. Shayna in turn defended her actions, expressing regret and acknowledging her troubled past, marked by drug addiction and homelessness.
Your Honor, I went to Chicago after not hearing from her for 7 years. The one time I did hear from her, she didn't even know who I was on the phone. She walks up to me and she weighs 56 pounds, has sores all over her. We left Chicago at Sunday morning. I'm getting her dressed. I'm putting clothes on this child to take her back to Houston with me.
The heart of the matter lay in the paternity of Shayna's 10-month-old daughter, Kayla. Michelle vehemently doubted Corey's ability to father a child due to his history of failed paternity claims with other women. Shayna, desperate for a resolution, sought a paternity test to prove Corey's parentage. Amidst accusations, tears, and family turmoil, Judge Lake delivered the long-awaited results.
I looked at a beautiful little girl on this screen, and all I can think is she deserves more than this. I think it's time to reveal the results. Mr. Hill, you are her father.
To the relief of Shayna and Corey, the DNA test revealed that Corey is indeed Kayla's biological father. The revelation brought mixed emotions to the courtroom. Corey expressed his commitment to being a responsible father, acknowledging past mistakes with other children he believed were his. Shayna tearfully apologized for her actions and sought understanding from her sister.
What I was back then, I'm not today. A time frame to grow and get better, and I'm sorry that I didn't make the right decision, but I'm doing the best I can. I'm gonna do my best.
Your Honor, I would just like to say that I hope that in the near future, that me and their relationship, because at the end of the day, I never wanted to break two sisters apart, separate them, or have them feeling the way they feel right now.
Judge Lake, in her customary wisdom, urged the family to focus on the best interest of the child. She encouraged Michelle to find closure and rebuild her relationship with Shayna outside the shadow of past grievances. The judge also emphasized the importance of Mr. Hill signing the birth certificate, cementing his legal role in Kayla's life.
Ms. Hayes, Michelle, you've said that you've moved on, and I am hoping you will a relationship with your sister that can exist outside of just this man. Mr. Hill is the father. Can you move forward? The court will provide you with drug counseling resources. You continue your healing. You must do this.
Talking so much and listen.
You making us feel like I'm the fool.
Color of the baby and he's browning up.
I'm just saying, like,
you do understand.
What are we on, Game of Thrones?
Trying to take care of a child that's not mine.
We already know you lying.
When they don't even know for certain if the baby is yours.
I don't have big ears like he does. His sticks out more.
Get ready, folks. The tea we've got today is hotter than a summer barbecue. We've got a sizzling case for you. Phi versus Henny. It's a tale of suspicion, paternity doubts, and a guy who thinks head shapes are the key to fatherhood. That's right, head shapes.
Mr. Phi, you have petitioned the court for paternity tests on the defendant's 2 children, 2-year-old Nathan and 8-month-old Samuel. Additionally, you have requested a lie detector test for the defendant because you claim her infidelity has not only created paternity doubt, but has destroyed your relationship. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Phi is doubting he's the daddy of not one, but 2 kids, 2-year-old Nathan and 8-month-old Samuel. And get this, he's also demanding a lie detector test for Miss Henny because he's convinced her past infidelity has thrown a wrecking ball into their relationship. Drama alert.
Every day. And, it kind of hurts me because as they got older, kids don't look like me.
They do look exactly like
They don't look like me. I mean, Nathan, he's got different futures than what I have. And, little Sammy, he kind of looks more like Nathan too. They both look alike, and, little Sammy's got my full name.
Now, Miss Henny, on the other hand, is standing her ground, claiming she's 100% sure Mr. Phi is the father of both kids. But Mr. Phi wasn't having any of it. He claimed that even though the kids called him daddy, they looked nothing like him. And folks, he's not talking about the typical eye color or nose shape. No, he's talking about head shapes.
Has caused you to doubt.
Yes, Your Honor.
Explain.
I was gone away for 45 days, and when I came back, people, even friends, told me that she was messing around with a guy from the neighborhood.
We were not messing around.
That's not what my friends told me, but when I confronted the gentleman about it, he came, I was on the phone with him, and he told me they did mess around twice. Well, when I confronted her about it,
Mr. Fye is convinced that because he has an oval-shaped head and his ears are glued to his head, there's no way he could father a kid with a blockhead and ears that have a dip in them. I mean, come on! That sounds wrong any way you look at it. Who's going to burst his bubble, guys?
Explain to me why you doubt.
I have an oval-shaped head, okay, Your Honor? My ears are close to my head. He has a block head. A block head. His ears have a dip in them. I don't have none of them.
I'm sorry, but I have dips in my ears. He has my ears.
I don't have big ears like he does. His sticks out more, and he has that block head. I don't have a block head. Mine's more of an oval shape.
But wait, there's more! Mr. Fye's got friends telling him Miss Henny was cozying up with a neighborhood guy while he was away for 45 days. And not just any guy, a former friend of Mr. Fye's. Ouch! That's gotta sting! Miss Henny admits to one slip-up, but Mr. Fye is convinced it's more like 4 hard falls. He's found text messages, and he's not buying her just friends defense. Talk about trust issues!
And you've seen this other man enough to be able to compare?
Yes, he used to be a close friend of mine.
Oh. Miss Henny, how did you end up sleeping with your boyfriend's close friend?
Our kids hung out. When he went away for that 45 days, we were hanging out with our kids, and it didn't start out that way, but it's just one thing led to another, and
here's where it gets even juicier. Mr. Fye signed the birth certificates, but now he's having second thoughts. He wants his name off the birth certificates if those results say he's not the father.
It was his idea to name the baby after him to keep that name going on.
So, Mr. Fye, you signed the birth certificate, so what's the big deal about your name? You're still the legal father.
Today, if I find out the kids ain't mine, I want, Samuel John Fye IV, I want his name taken from him. And Nathan, I want my last name pulled from the birth certificate.
And he's not just talking about a little whiteout action. He wants a full-blown name redaction if he's not the father. The tension in the courtroom was insane as everyone waited for the result. Nathan's birth certificate is up first. Mr. Fye is legally registered as the father, but will the DNA results match? And then there's Samuel, carrying the heavy title of Samuel John Fye IV. But Mr. Fye was actually against giving his supposed son his name. But Miss Henny wanted it, and boy did she go for it. The plot thickens.
And you are not this children's biological father, this relationship is over.
Correct.
Or if the lie detector proves that Ms. Henny is not telling the truth,
then it's done between us.
Then the relationship is over as well.
Correct.
Ms. Henny, were you in a relationship with this other guy for a while?
No, we were not in a relationship.
And you still you only slept with him that one time?
Yes.
Miss Henny is standing her ground, insisting she's done nothing wrong and that the kids are his, no question. She's even got the birth certificates to prove he signed off on daddy duty. But wait, there's a twist! We've got a lie detector test in the mix, and it's ready to spill all the tea on Miss Henny's past escapades. Will it confirm Mr. Fye's suspicions, or will it clear Miss Henny's name once and for all?
Mr. Fye, you are the father.
Who doesn't look like who?
I apologize for that. Now let's see Sammy.
The results are in, and everyone's on the edge of their seats. Will Mr. Fye's head-shaped theory hold up? Is Miss Henny's confession the whole truth? The judge is ready to reveal the truth about 2-year-old Nathan and then 8-month-old Samuel. These results will either bring this family back together or be the final nail in the coffin for their relationship. The stakes couldn't be any higher.
Mr. Fye, you are the father.
Change what name?
I apologize for that.
Yeah.
Miss Davis just swooped into court with a 1-month-old baby and a story that's got more twists than a pair of wired headphones. She's claiming that Mr. Ham, who she knew for just 2 months, is the daddy of her little one. But wait for it. She's also suing him for $1,500 for baby shower gifts. Yeah, you heard that right.
Miss Davis, you claim you got pregnant with Mr. Ham's child after knowing him for only 2 months. You've petitioned the court for a DNA test to prove that Mr. Ham is the father of your 1-month-old baby, Jarrell Ham Jr. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
You're suing him for $1,500 for the cost of the baby shower gifts that you say Mr. Ham took from you.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, Mr. Ham wasn't having any of it. He was convinced he wasn't the father because, get this, Miss Davis was juggling not one, but 2 other men. And here's the kicker. She's still technically married to another guy. Forget love triangles. This one's a legit love square.
That's where we agreed to go to the lake. When I pull up at the lake, she got a whole crowd of people surrounding her car. So as I get closer, Miss Davis then comes and approaches my car. We start having a conversation. As me and Miss Davis having a conversation, one of her female friends comes up to the car and say, well, your boyfriend is getting upset due to the fact that you over here disrespecting him by talking to another man.
Did you remember someone coming up to you and saying
No,
your boyfriend
nobody came
mad?
up to me. Nobody came up to me because it wasn't my boyfriend.
The judge is trying to make sense of this mess, and Mr. Ham starts off with a story that sounds straight out of a rom-com. He says they met because they had the same car, just different colors. If that's not fate, I don't know what is. But it wasn't all daisies and roses because apparently Miss Davis was surrounded by a whole squad when they met up, and one of her friends accused her of disrespecting her boyfriend by chatting up Mr. Ham. Yeah, she was seeing someone else at the time.
So if your testimony, Mr. Ham, she had more than one boyfriend.
Yes, and she's married too, and she's still technically married now. She's not divorced now, she's still technically married. And she had two boyfriends too. So this is why I'm in a point where, okay, this can't really be my child due to the fact that she had all these boyfriends, and then at the end of the day, I come found she's married too.
Miss Davis admits she had a boyfriend and a husband she was separated from. But Mr. Ham, he claims she had two boyfriends, and she still slept with him on the second day they met. Fast mover, huh? Well, so is he.
She got in the car with me, and we left that same day, and we had unprotected sex that same day. We had sex that same day. And after we had sex that day, we was like peas, and she was on my heels, we was together.
No, actually, how can you be with somebody after 2 days of knowing them? How can you be with somebody?
You
didn't
slept
even know
with
me.
your first day.
You didn't even. So what? You had.
So what? But you just saying it was the second day.
Okay, look, you had unprotected.
And I'm not lying. Yeah, we did.
At
The
end of
first day I met you.
How
I'm
can
not
you be
lying
in a
about
relationship
that.
with somebody you just met?
Now here's where it gets even spicier. Mr. Ham's family throws a baby shower, and all the gifts end up at his house. Miss Davis leaves the shower with nothing but a few gift cards and a check. Mr. Ham's reason? He wasn't sure the baby was his, so why give her the gifts? But the law is the law, and you can't just keep baby shower gifts hostage.
I didn't even want to be around, so I calmed down and said, you know what? Y'all go ahead and invite her. Let her come.
And Miss Davis, you went.
I went. Me, my sister, and my cousin went to the baby shower. And Your Honor, I didn't get nothing from that baby shower. Nothing. Nothing
It's
came
not
to me.
for you, it's for the baby.
Everything came to him. The baby stayed with me. I should have got the stuff that came to my house. All the stuff went to his house. And
So all the gifts that were given to the baby at the baby shower.
The back and forth in this courtroom is like a tennis match on steroids. They're arguing about who said what, who's been sleeping with whom, and who's been there for the baby. It's like an episode of Maury with a side of Jerry Springer.
Gave gifts to the baby, but because you say you weren't certain whether or not the child was yours, you decided not to give the gifts to her, to the baby.
Yes, Your Honor. And at the same time, anywhere I go, I was going to have to take the gifts to her because she had a car full of her friends and anything, so she didn't have nowhere to put the gifts.
But you admit you took them.
I took them to my house. I took the gifts to my house.
Did you ever get those gifts, Miss Davis?
No, I didn't get nothing.
And let's not forget the baby's complexion. Mr. Ham throws out this gem. He's not sure he's the dad because the baby's skin tone is changing. He even says the baby doesn't look like either of them, so it must look like the real father. I mean, come on!
Often asked in this courtroom, do you feel like the baby resembles you?
No, I do not.
You don't?
No, I do not. It's quite a few guys who I might think about because all the guys she messed with is light skinned except this one guy, he's dark skinned. And like I said, the baby is light skinned. So the dark skinned guy, he out the picture, but at the same time, she was still messing with him during the same time she was messing with me. So it's kind of hard to put him out the picture too. And then I see the baby's starting to get darker too.
It's time for the DNA results. The courtroom is silent. Everyone's on the edge of their seats, and Mr. Ham is sweating bullets. Will he be the father, or will he be off the hook for those baby shower gifts and a lifetime of diaper duty? Will Miss Davis get the last laugh, or will Mr. Ham be doing a victory dance?
Mr. Ham, you are Jarrell's father.
Like I said, I don't have no problem with stepping up, but at the same time, I can't be in this child's life if she's trying to control me with this child.
First up, we've got Mr. Peebles, who tied the knot with Mrs. Peebles on April Fool's Day. Talk about a sign, right? But 2 years down the line, he's convinced that the only fool is him. He's doubting he's the daddy of their 20-month-old daughter, Mariah, and he's stuck on the birth certificate like gum on a shoe.
Mr. Peebles, you say you married the defendant, Mrs. Peebles, on April Fool's Day 2 years ago, but since then, you've been played for a fool. You claim you are not her 20-month-old daughter, Amira's biological father, and are stuck on the birth certificate until today's results prove you are not her dad. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Then there's Mrs. Peebles, who's throwing the shade right back at her hubby, claiming he's the one who's been playing her with lies and empty promises. She's demanding that he step up to the plate and stop running from daddy duty.
So what is the nature of you guys' relationship? How did this begin?
How we met is through a friend of a friend. We went to a club and we was introduced like that.
So Ann, somehow you ended up married. What happened?
He wanted to be with me. When he went away, he made it real clear he wanted to be with me. So I took initiative and say, okay, we're gonna make this a relationship. And I've been there from day one.
Now, Mr. Peebles spills the beans that he thinks his wife is conniving, bossy, and insecure. Ouch! If it's true, that's a combo that'll make anyone run for the hills. But wait, there's more! Mrs. Peebles admits she did cheat on Mr. Peebles, but only because he cheated first. It's like a game of tag, but with cheating.
He's fooling me, deceiving me, saying he loved me. He don't really love me.
Do you love him, Mr. Peebles?
Yeah, I love her, but this is just like a stopping point right now.
Now, he claimed I was cheating on him, which I'm gonna be honest, I did. It's because he cheated on me first.
Mr. Peebles, how did you find out about all this?
The day before my birthday, we got into it.
And here's where it gets juicy. Mr. Peebles calls his wife on his birthday, and another dude answers, claiming he was chilling with his baby. I mean, can you imagine? That's like unwrapping a birthday gift and finding a box of spiders.
So on your birthday, you said you're gonna go out and have some fun yourself. Without
what
you.
I'm supposed to do. To stay in
And
the
then
house.
how does it get to the point where you find out, Miss Peebles, your wife is cheating?
I called her phone.
And what happened?
I called her phone and he answered her phone and said, I'm chilling with my baby.
What?
Exactly
That's
what
a
he
lie.
said.
Judge, how he found out is when we came home that Sunday, I told him.
But hold up! Mrs. Peebles says that's a lie, and she only got with the other guy because Mr. Peebles ditched her to celebrate his own birthday. Talk about a party pooper. Now let's do some math. Mrs. Peebles finds out she's pregnant in November, 2 months after her hubby's birthday bash fiasco. The timing is as sus as a cat next to a broken vase.
Sleeping with him, but I used protection with this guy. I was sleeping with him unprotected.
Okay, you say you use birth control, you use a condom. Well, we know that's not 100% effective. Is that the only time you slept with that guy?
Maybe a week after that, but like I said, protected sex.
1 week after?
Yes, Your Honor.
And just when you think it can't get any crazier, a mystery man showed up at their door, hurling insults and claiming he's been paying Mrs. Peebles' bills. That's right, another potential baby daddy enters the scene. But wait, there's a twist! Mr. Peebles has another baby on the way with a different woman, and Mrs. Peebles is not having it. She's airing out all their dirty laundry, including how he's not even friends with her on Facebook, but he's all cozy with the other woman.
Somebody else came to my door. I look at her. She look at me like, who can that be? Most people call before they come. Go to the door, it's a dude at the door. She behind me, all type of names to her. So I couldn't tolerate the disrespect.
What you mean all type of names?
Well, curse words.
Oh, the guy was cursing at the wife?
And telling her, like, I took care of you.
Which he did, because he was never around.
The plot thickens when Mrs. Peebles reveals she's pregnant again. And this time, she doesn't know who the daddy is. It's like a daytime soap opera, but you can't change the channel. The judge is trying to make sense of this hot mess, and honestly, so are we. They're talking about cutting grass and tracking phones, and we're just here with our popcorn.
Well, woman, don't nag. Of course, I'm a nag because you're not there for me. I've been there for you for 4 years,
trackers
Bernardo.
on cars, on my phone.
Track, yup.
Cut the phone off.
I sure did. I'm paying for it.
Come on, man.
I'm paying for it.
Was she paying for the phone bill?
Yes.
I do it all.
Do you have a job, Mr. Peebles?
I had a job.
But he quits it. He quits. So that means I take care of everything.
And finally, the moment of truth arrives. The judge reads the DNA results, and let me tell you, the courtroom was so quiet you could hear a pin drop.
Mr. Peebles, you are the father.
Start helping me out. I ain't dumb. And you making it feel like I'm the fool. I'm deceiving you. You deceived me from day one.
All right, let's set the stage. We've got Miss Reeves and Mr. Silva, two folks caught in a storm of drama, doubt, and some seriously questionable logic. Miss Reeves marched into court, baby in tow, to prove that Mr. Silva is the father of her 7-month-old son, Legend. And Mr. Silva? Well, he's convinced there's no way he's the dad.
Ms. Reeves, you are here today to prove that the defendant, Mr. Silva, is the biological father of your 7-month-old son, Legend. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Silva, you were involved in a paternity
paternity case on Love and Hip Hop Atlanta in support of your sister who took a DNA test to prove paternity of her child.
Now, Mr. Silva is no stranger to paternity drama. He's been in the hot seat before, supporting his sister in her own paternity case. But this time, he's the one under the microscope, and his reasons for doubt are, let's just say, unique and not in a good way.
I feel like she's tricking me into believing that I'm Legend's father. I grew up loving women, loving sex.
You grew up loving sex?
To me, I always felt like it was okay for men to go out, have sex, and, cheat, come home to their family. And women can't go out, have sex, and, come home, and especially with a baby, trying to say that I'm his father.
So Miss Reeves is adamant that Silva is the dad, but Silva, he's got a different story. He thinks it's perfectly fine for men to cheat, but women? Oh no, big no-no. That's right, folks. He actually said, God created men to conquer. I mean, what century are we in? Is this an episode of Game of Thrones? Silva was digging his own grave as everyone watched.
It's okay for men to go outside of the relationship to cheat, but not okay for women to do the same.
Yes, Your Honor.
You aren't the only man that feels like that.
Well, Your Honor, I feel
Every man feels
like,
like that.
God created men to conquer, to overrule, and women cannot empower. Women cannot empower men.
What are we on, Game of Thrones?
You see what I did with every day?
Oh, what are we talking about?
Now the plot thickens when we find out that Miss Reeves was texting her ex while with Silva. Red flag alert! But wait, there's more. She changed her phone password too. Silva caught her, and that's when the trust train derailed. But we can't really go too hard on her when Mr. Silva believes that it's his God-given right to cheat, can we?
Once I told him that I was pregnant, he was like, okay, with who?
Your Honor, we were broken up for 4 weeks, Your Honor. I called her texting her ex.
And is that why you broke up?
Yes, Your Honor.
When you
I confronted her
with it?
about texting her ex. This ain't, I caught them texting multiple times, and she claims they're just friends. And I had it. One day I just decided to try to go on her phone, and she changed her password on me.
But here's where it gets juicy. They broke up for a month, and when they got back together, bam, she was pregnant. Silva's doing the math, and it's just not adding up for him. He's thinking maybe she had too much fun while they were on a break.
And that's what's hard, because a lot of women will say, well, he was out doing this, that, and the third. I said, I know, but I need to know what this, that, and the third you were doing, because that's really the bottom line. Right. So if you're texting your ex, changing your passcode, and then you all are broken up, and you then say to him, I'm pregnant, I can see that he might have some doubt as to who you may have been having sex with during the window of conception.
Fast forward to the birth of baby Legend. Silva's there in the delivery room, feeling the pressure with all of Miss Reeves' family around. So what does he do? He signs the birth certificate. That's right, he put his name down, even with all those doubts swirling in his head.
Be there at the hospital when the baby
Yes, and throughout the whole time I'm telling her I want a DNA test. In the hospital, none but her family was there. I was by myself. I came in. As soon as the Legend was born, the doctor came in the room, straight to me and gave me the paper. I didn't want to make her look bad. So
you signed the birth certificate?
Yes, I felt pressure to sign.
Now let's talk about this little one, Legend. Mr. Silva has been there since day one, buying clothes and being a dad, but he's still telling everyone and their mother that he's not the father. Talk about mixed signals. But wait, it gets even more dramatic. Miss Reeves gets a message from another woman claiming she and Silva were an item too. And what does Silva say? That he was just being grimy. Oh, Silva, you sly dog, you!
So, Mr. Silva, I see you have a smirk on your face, so we already know you lying.
As usual.
Yeah, Your Honor,
Did you tell this woman that she was pregnant, but she didn't know who the father of her child was?
Your Honor, I told her that she was pregnant, and I told her that she wasn't pregnant by me, but the whole thing, I just said that out of, just being grimy.
Judge Lake is trying to make sense of this mess. She's telling Silva he's got to shape up or ship out. And Miss Reeves, she's got to stand up for herself and not let Silva walk all over her. It's a tough love session in the courtroom, folks. And just like that, the moment of truth was here. The results were in. Would Silva be crowned the conquering dad? Or would Miss Reeves have to start a whole new chapter?
Mr. Silva, you are the father.
Now, I'm sorry. And, I did have my doubt with Legend, but I know that he's my son.
Deadbeat moms on paternity court.
You always give up on
Look,
us.
I'm not a perfect mom. I never tried to be. I did what...
London and Miss Drake were in the hot seats, squabbling over their alleged sisterhood. However, the million-dollar question was it a genuine blood connection or just a plot for some quick cash? The suspense was as real as it could get.
I'm here today to find out if Nakai is in fact my biological sister. My father never ever told me that she was. Had he told me, I would not be here. I met Nakai physically about 3 weeks ago at my sister's party. I don't mean to be mean. She came into my life. I would have never looked for her.
Now imagine this, a decades-long family feud. Two women had a potential fortune at stake. After all these years, the defendant chose this as the prime time to look for the London family. Time will tell whether that was a good decision or not so much.
A year ago, through another family member, I was told that Dolores was looking for me. I was so excited. We connected, and it was so warm and things like that. But when I met Kim, it was a cold shoulder. I didn't feel no warmness.
Your Honor, it wasn't a cold shoulder. I just felt like because of her situation, that made it even more important for us to know.
Miss Drake had one London sister in her court, but the other side-eye suggested she smelled a rat, or in this case, a con. The witness narrated how she got to know about this lost sister on a fateful evening, and the brother's statement backed it up. Looks like Miss London was all alone in her corner.
One day, my brothers were having a conversation, and they was talking about Nakai. And I guess she was around about 9, and it wasn't a long conversation. They just brought it up, and I was like, wow, I have a younger sister? I just couldn't believe it.
And so they brought it up to you?
Yes.
During what?
Between the two of them, yes.
They did?
Mm-hmm.
And they said, you said, I can't believe I have a sister.
No, I can't.
All alone, but still standing strong. Yep, the plaintiff wasn't budging from her stance, man. Not a chance. Moreover, she went into detail about how she suspected Miss Drake had ulterior motives. Interesting.
I want to address something that you said. You said that when you met me, you felt coldness. You came at me very strong. You were telling me about my father, and then you were saying the things that you guys shared. A couple of days later, you asked me, you start sending me text messages for money and stuff like that. I felt a little uncomfortable because she was calling me at work.
Uh-oh, now that does put the defendant in a bit of a pickle, no? Asking for money just after a week of meeting? Something ain't right. But who better to shed light on this than our very own Miss Drake?
I didn't have anybody to turn to, and actually I was recently getting out of the hospital for one of my illnesses, and I needed money to wash my clothes because I had messed up my bed, and I didn't have anybody that I could ask, so I said, well, oh my, let me call my sister, and that's what it was all about, of me asking her for money.
Moving on, the real perpetrator comes onto the scene. Mother dearest! Now, she was on call though, but dang, did she have shocking revelations. On top of that, that didn't win her any Mother of the Year awards either. Ooh, deadbeat mommy much?
Why don't you believe that?
I was married to Eugene Howard. She knows better too.
You say she knows better. What does that mean? Why should she?
Because Eugene Howard is her daddy.
And
she never called me a daddy. She called him by his name, Neil.
She never called him daddy.
No.
Next up, Ms. Drake was in a weird position to say the least now, with her mommy turning the tables on her. She still stood by her claim, even though mommy revealed another daddy in her life. Now, what was up with that, huh?
Maybe it could have been a time when Neil cheated on my mom, basically the same thing he did with your mom. Maybe she was heated and upset, but my mom and Neil both told me that he was my father, and everybody called me Mr. London's daughter.
Do you remember the other man?
I remember them both.
The moment of truth was dropped upon them. The DNA results were being handed to the judge, and the rest of them held their breath. Time to see what destiny had in store for these families. Here's the verdict.
The percentage of relatedness is 0.00%. You are not related.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
Miss Abrell Curtis was on a quest of a lifetime to uncover the truth about her dear old father. The suspense was building as we unveiled this 14-year-old secret, and it's been a long time coming. Protagonist, Miss Abrell, believed her mother had been keeping the identity of her real father under wraps for all these years. But things got sarcastic when—
Actually, Your Honor, I did not tell my daughter at a young age about who her father was. Simply one, because I was a young girl, I was pregnant. I gave birth to her when I was 16 years old. When I was 15, I met Kurt. I didn't even know that I was pregnant because I didn't know anything about the body.
You didn't know what it meant? You were just so young?
Yes.
Well, she became a mother. Hardly an excuse, that one, right?
It did not matter whether you had a father or not, to me, because I was the mother. I was the one that was supporting you, keeping a roof over your head, and making sure that you went to school and you got the education that you needed.
I don't care what she's saying. I wanted a dad. I've always wanted a dad. You can be that mother. You can always be a mother, but I still need my own father figure. It doesn't matter at all.
Rewinding to the time the plaintiff got conceived, Miss Tamika, who was 15 at the time, recalled a whirlwind of youthful decisions, fast living, meeting Kirk, and uncertainty about her pregnancy. Just a few highlights of that time.
Brill, you are young. You don't make choices for yourself and do what you want to do when you 14.
Father and daughter dance. Everybody else got to do it.
You did not want to go to father and daughter dance.
Time to bring the window of conception and the confusion. Well, the emotions were running high. While the mother kept justifying her actions and decisions, the daughter broke down. Guess the years caught up to her. And what did mommy do next? Buckle up, because all the pent-up emotions were pouring out of the plaintiff. No turning back now. It seemed the supposed baby daddy made a few promises. When things don't pan out the way DNA Queen intended, she pulls the stop and heads straight for the results. Here we go.
Mr. Whitaker, you.
Stage was set as a daughter brought her mother to court for some much needed answers. And boy, did these guys have a ton of skeletons in their closets. And all were about to come out today in all their glory.
I have no idea. Things that were said, things that were done.
It's apparent that you feel badly about it. I see the emotion on your face. Are there certain particular regrets that you have? But you understand that she has a right to know who her father is.
Yes.
So our key players were on a roll, to say the least. Miss Ferguson had enough of her mom's attitude and shenanigans, and she was gonna tell the whole world now. And that didn't sit too well with the mommy. While she left the scene, the daughter still continued. Oh boy!
I was supposed to be her little secret keeper. You know, I was supposed to be the only one to know that she was sleeping around. And I couldn't handle it anymore because I love him like I love him.
Right.
I figure I have two dads, and now this dad is telling me that this dad might not even be my real father.
It appears Miss Munsell had a habit of cheating, and the daughter was the key witness to that part. However, the revelation that the plaintiff might not be the stepfather's daughter hit him like a ton of bricks. It's like twist after twist with this despairing tale.
First met her at a party. I found out after this because that's when we met. She slept with 4 guys that night. It was my friend.
4 guys in one night?
Yes.
You know this for a fact or you heard?
No, it's been, we were dating, you know, and moved in with each other. Within like 2 weeks, my sister started calling me saying, hey, there's cars down at the house like every other day.
Finally, the mother returns back to the court, and the years of all the mess she created made her apologize to the daughter. Alas, if it only went the way apologies are intended to go, because it definitely didn't.
And you told me all it was to find out about your dad.
It is, and I told you I want to repair our relationship
Well, there
too.
is no repair
and
now.
You won't open up.
There
See?
is no
You always
Stop.
give up on us.
Let me
Yes,
finish.
I'm sorry.
I'm not a perfect mom. I never tried to be. You know, I did what I could do. But I love you, and I never once regretted having you.
Oh, that was painful to watch. However, in a last-ditch effort, the daughter appealed to Mother Dearest again. Sadly, the response was no better than the first one. This mommy was one tough nut to crack.
I wanted to ask you what you think about it, so I didn't have to bring you here.
Then I guess you should have instead of bringing
Mom,
me
how
here.
am I supposed to when I know the results? I'll get text messages instead saying, oh, I can't believe you're going to put me through this. And that's all I
can't
ever
believe
get.
you're doing it now, so let's just get the results so we can be done.
The big reveal was here, and a long time coming for these guys. This was one emotionally packed ride, and saying these guys were miserable would be the understatement of the century. On to the results.
Mr. Ferguson, you are her father.
I told you.
So really from this day on, you're not going to talk to me anymore?
Nope.
Mr. Morgan was suing his former mistress to establish paternity over baby Amaya. However, Miss Gentry Lee was sure he was not her guy. Well, no love was lost between these guys. Let's get to unlocking this paternity mess, shall we?
I simply believe that she's denying this because we're no longer in a relationship and we're not going to be.
So you think she's just saying you're not the child's father because she's not with you anymore?
Yes, because I moved on.
Is that true, Miss Gentry Lee?
No, Your Honor.
Let's rewind a bit. It appears we have gotten another he said, she said fiasco on our hands, folks. Mr. Morgan, the smooth operator in the world of artist management, met Miss Gentry Lee, whose relationship with a potential artist was as stable as a Jenga tower after a few too many drinks. One thing led to another, and bang! We've got ourselves a love story that's messier than a celebrity breakup.
Miss Gentry Lee, did you think you were dating someone? Were you had the potential to be in a real relationship with him?
At the moment, yes, Your Honor. But what he said is a whole lie.
Well,
it's
how do you
completely a lie because he asked me to come over and chill with him that night.
So he said come over and chill.
And we led into sex.
So how did Miss Gentry Lee end up with a bun in the oven? Well, it's one wild ride involving a quickie, an argument, and even catching Mr. Morgan in a compromising situation with her family member. Yep, just when you think this story couldn't get any more scandalous, it does. What more do we want, right?
He was bringing other women in, like my family member.
He was sleeping with your family member?
He was sleeping with my family member, Your Honor.
So sorry.
I completely told him I was done, so he called me back September the 19th, Your Honor. So I stayed with him September the 19th. We did a quickie. Then I left him that day and went with another guy, Your Honor.
Moving on, the defendant didn't tell the baby daddy about impending pregnancy. However, he took matters into his own hands. Though that ended up being a false alarm, baby mama, however, had some controversial plans at such an age. Oh, mama!
When she went and took that test, they told her it was inconclusive and they needed to draw blood. She called me and told me that herself. I said, okay, she said, I've been here all day and I'm getting irritated. I do not want to sit here any longer.
What happens after that?
I didn't really ask her any of that. I'm a very observant person. Me and her.
Because we was too busy getting drunk that night because I was so upset that I was not pregnant.
Amidst this chaotic paternity, Mr. Morgan started waving around an ultrasound report, and that led to one very important question. If mommy didn't believe him to be the father, why send the report, huh?
You don't send a man that you do not believe you're pregnant with their child. Why would you send me an ultrasound? I don't care if I requested it or not.
Well, she probably could have articulated that better if she wasn't 18, 17.
Okay, and in my defense, as far as
I mean, that's the problem.
Well, baby daddy had an interesting theory suggesting the ever-changing moods of this baby mama. A classic case of baby having a baby. The girl wasn't out of her teenage years and wanted to have a baby. Get real, girl.
Is there times when she's indicating you are the father?
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
no,
all the time.
No.
All the time.
Did you go to any of the appointments?
No, I didn't go to
What
any
about when the baby was born?
No, he was not there either.
She up and left and moved out of town. After she was at my house, later for 4 more days, after she was in the hospital with 2 IVs running in her arm, getting rehydrated and she was hungry.
Up next, the fiance of the plaintiff slides up right next to him. Now, according to her, she had been taking care of the baby mama whenever she blew up her phone. But Miss Gentry Lee kept interjecting.
She texts all the time, and she was texting him and saying how she was hungry and stuff, and he was like, one day it's my baby, one day it's not. I'm like, no, you can't do that. She's gonna come over here, she's gonna get her something to eat, she's gonna get her some rest, because I'm a mother myself, you know?
Your Honor, that's a lie because I went over his cousin's house.
I
went over his cousin's house.
You came to my house because I wanted you to be there.
Now, in a desperate attempt to save face, baby mama presented her conception calendar based on her math. Regardless, that blew up in her face quite spectacularly. Well, the girl math didn't math the way she intended it to.
You were intimate with Mr. Morgan,
yes.
where it's in red.
Yes.
In the morning. In the afternoon,
is blue.
Is blue.
With the other.
So you slept with both men on the same day on September 19th.
Yes, Your Honor.
We've reached the climax of this courtroom extravaganza, people, and may I say, about time we did. Baby mama failed to put up a good defense. Let's see whether she fails in the verdict as well.
It has been determined by this court. You are the father.
I don't get her. We've been through hell and back.
Born. I never got to hold her. I never got to see.
She moved away when she was 8 months pregnant on us.
You to stay at my house. You could have stayed.
With me.
That y'all gonna have sex on into the sunlight? No. Well, sunlight time, baby.
Your jerk factor is on 10, Mr. Macon. I'm not gonna lie. You have gotten on my last last nerve today. Could barely put a sentence together because you're smiling and laughing, because your nerves are shot, because you're lying.
In another baby drama episode, Dominique Streeter claimed that after Martin Hartfield convinced her to have a baby with him, he now denies being the baby daddy just because he is married and wants to save his marriage. A part of Mr. Hartfield that Streeter wasn't aware of throughout the period she and Hartfield were together. What really is the gist here?
Mr. Hartfield asked me to have a baby with him. We were dating for about 8 months, a long time. We were in a relationship, a committed relationship with just me and him. And throughout the whole relationship, he wanted to have a baby. He said he didn't get to raise any of his. So we went to the hospital and we got the birth control taken out together. We went together.
Could it be that Streeter is cooking up lies? Or that Hartfield is trying to play a fast one on us? For every testimony she gives, Hartfield hollers that Streeter's lying. So what is his version of what really happened between him and Streeter?
According to you.
The truth is, I believe that it's possible that she's thinking about someone else because she and I did meet, that is a fact, and we did talk, and I found her to be very attractive at the time. And I even, did things to convince her that, okay, maybe I will be a guy that she could take a chance with as far as going out on dates.
But you were married.
And I made sure that she knew that as well.
Oh my God.
I made that very clear.
Wow, for a cheater, this man is bold. He did not even tell the person he was having an affair with about his marriage. This brings us to the question, how exactly did Streeter end up finding out that the man she thought was single and trying to build a family with her was actually married? Let's hear what she has to say about this.
He had ended up telling me a relative's name, and I had went on Facebook and found the relative, then found Mrs. Hartfield's page, then that's when I seen pictures of them. And I didn't even call her right away because he had told me, like, them pictures are old, she's professional, and for her image, she can't, she don't want people to know that we're not together. So I believed him. Matter of fact, I didn't even call her, I text her and let her know, like, your husband's been treating you for 8 months and I'm 5 months pregnant.
What in the world? Hartfield knew that there was no way he could escape this because this was hardcore evidence against him. So he immediately admits that he did send those nasty messages and proceeds to explain why he did. Not that we actually care because we've registered the fact that he cheated. However, let's just hear what he has to say.
Because of this game that she and I like to play, that she likes to play. If I don't do that, Dominique goes ballistic. And we've been playing this game, but now that we're in court, it seems like something that some old man has been trying to hit on a young lady. But I'm telling you, that is not true.
You 46-year-old married man, Mr. Hartfield. What game is this you feel like you need to play with a 22-year-old girl?
One thing is for certain. This man has no shame. Even up until this moment. His testimony ended with him saying that he had to play some kind of flirtatious game with Streeter to cuddle her so that she would not call his wife and let her know about his affair. But the judge moves on from that and inquires about both parties' reactions to the news of Streeter's pregnancy.
It was expected. He was excited. He wanted a baby. That was the whole point.
The deal, this is a situation. Dominique deals with so many guys, okay? She found one that was an older guy and she thought that I would be a cake daddy or however you want to call it. The thing is that she found out, hey, you're dealing with a guy that ain't got no money, so now you waste your time.
That's not true. That's not true.
Because
I mean, Hartfield doesn't have the right to call anyone out for playing games when he holds the trophy for knowing how to play games with 2 women. At this point, I feel extremely sorry for his wife, who has been sitting there listening to all of his nasty escapades with a girl half his age. It's just so unfair. Knowing this, Judge Lauren decided to hear Mrs. Hartfield out.
I can see when you were sitting there, this was very painful for you to hear.
This is ridiculous.
Did he fill you in on all of these details and the fact he's still texting this 22-year-old young woman?
No, he did not.
How did you even find out about this entire affair?
The text message that I received from her.
You get a text message.
A random text message.
So, not only is he a cheater, but he is also lacking in his fatherly duties. Yet he stands there with pride, yapping away about irrelevant things. Mrs. Hartfield tells the court that after that one meeting with Streeter, she never met with her again. Meanwhile, this same husband was at the hospital with Streeter, getting excited over a child he was never even going to take responsibility for.
And so, Miss Streeter, who was with you at the birth?
He was there when the baby was born. He was excited, like, that's my baby, that's my boy. I never got to see none of my kids born. I want to be with you. Let's make this work. We got a child. He needs to be in the house with both parents.
Were you telling her these things, Mr. Hartfield?
No.
I tried to get him to sign the birth certificate. The reason why he signed it at first, but it was time for the witness to see us.
Unbelievable. However, Hartfield continued denying Streeter's testimony. He claimed that he was not even there when his name was printed on the certificate, but that turned out to be a lie because Hartfield also claimed that he was with Streeter when she was pressuring him to sign the birth certificate. He also added shocking information about Streeter. Here, take a look.
What do you mean? You say you're not the only
There's
man?
a guy in our local town that she's also told him.
He's lying. Don't understand what he coming up with these lies. For me, I feel like it's an iffy thing with him. If I don't want to be with him, he don't want to be with the baby. But it's times when I have to come over and he's
Your Honor,
the
that
baby.
is absolutely crazy nuts what she's saying.
What is
If I don't
Which
want to
part?
be with her, will you look at this queen right here?
Would you look at this shameless man? Clearly, he thought that Mrs. Hartfield would be on his side, so he tried to cajole her, calling her a queen. But she was not having any of it and immediately threw him to the wolves. I stan a woman that doesn't take rubbish. You wouldn't believe this man's behavior after his wife showed him that she was not cut out for his bullshit.
Wait a minute.
Sit her down.
Hold on.
You can't put me out.
Hold on,
I
Mr.
got my own place.
Hold on, Mr. Hartfield. Just a minute ago,
I don't
that's
want
your
her
wife
as
was a
support.
queen.
And yes, but she gonna speak like that and she's not supporting me. She's supporting somebody else.
Well, wait a minute.
Your Honor, only by your wish.
You seem like you getting flustered.
I don't like it. That's why I stepped out and had intercourse.
Oh, now it's her fault.
Because I never got her support or anything.
Oh Lord, give this despicable man what he deserves. What is all that attitude and anger? Coming from someone who stepped out. On top of it all, it was revealed that he even had multiple sexual partners. What's worse is that he did not deem it fit to quit his antics. We all know Judge Lauren doesn't take rubbish from anyone, and she is quick to shut him up.
Mr. Hartfield,
Yes.
I'm gonna let you pipe down just a little
Okay,
bit because your tone,
Yes, ma'am.
while you talking to your wife,
Yes, ma'am.
is making me edgy.
I understand.
It's making me edgy too.
Please sit down.
I called her up to testify,
I understand.
so she'll be standing until I ask her to be seated. I don't know what part of this you think you running. You don't run me, and you don't run this court. Now, ma'am, Miss Hartfield, you're saying that this was not the story that you were told.
No.
This just keeps getting worse. Nothing that is being said about his attitude bothers him, and he continues to make a fool of himself in court. It's so disturbing, but that's his business. What we want to know is if baby Caleb is his or not. And at this point, it might hurt a little if this man is truly Caleb's father. Anyway, let's find out.
Mr. Hartfield, you are the father.
Okay, that's cool. That's okay.
Do you understand now what you just made a child with?
Right.
No, look at me. I don't know what he told you up until this point. I will say that con men like him, they can be very charismatic. You two are both very beautiful young women. You don't have to deal with this. But I want you to see clearly in this courtroom today how he has acted. This is your child's father.
When Whitaker supposedly has a baby for Schrull, a mama's boy, she feels he is being controlled by his mother, influencing the paternity doubts he has. So Whitaker wants to prove that her 2-year-old daughter, Brynla, is Schrull's. Just so we can understand this case, let's take a look at why Whitaker believes that Schrull's mother influenced his paternity doubts.
Because he's a mama's boy. She has never done anything but come in between our relationship. Even when we were having fights in our relationship, she was always in the middle of it. It was never just me and him, it was me, him, and his mother.
Are you a mama's boy, Mr. Schrull?
Yes, Your Honor, I am.
I know that's right. Say it loud and proud. So do you believe your mother has come in between your relationship with Miss Whitaker?
There were times that she would, but
Explain.
it was just to protect me.
How long were you all dating?
The session has not even gone too far yet, and such unbelievable revelations are already coming out. Everyone was clearly taken aback by what Whitaker told the court, and it gets even worse. Take a look at the following clip.
At one point, we were completely living together. Him and his mother moved into my house with me and my mother. And
What? They moved into the house with you and your mother?
Yes, ma'am.
And you all were having sex and both mothers knew it?
Yes.
I've never heard of such.
Several times a day.
What in the world? This is horrible.
Yeah.
Do you go to school?
Well, yes, we were going to school, but we both ended up dropping out our junior year in high school.
This is just too much. Clearly, what these two need to be doing is studying and meeting deadlines for their school project, not having babies. But at least Whitaker ended up getting her GED in the midst of all this. So good for her. Anyway, back to the primary issue at hand. Figuring out the beef between Whitaker and Schrull's mother. What's the deal here?
If you all were all living together, why do you say she doesn't like you and she was interfering in a relationship? Sounded like she was putting it together.
She was always in the middle of our relationship. She even made the comment one time that I can't wait till you're 18 because I'm going to beat you. And then when she found out I was pregnant, she said, I guess I can't do it anymore now.
Mr. Schrull, did you know your mother didn't care for Miss Whitaker?
She cared for her. I don't know where that she didn't care for comes from because anytime...
Of course, Plus, who would expect this mama's boy to say anything against his mother? Despite the fact that he had even proposed marriage to her in such a romantic way, these two, well, ended up in court, arguing paternity issues. But that's not all, there's more. It appears that since the time Whitaker's mom passed away, things have changed.
Both of you are acting like you were committed, but if you were committed and nobody did anything outside the relationship, you wouldn't be here. No. So let's get to the real details.
What happened? What had happened? Her mom had passed away.
Okay.
And she got put in a foster home, and once she turned 18, she went with family.
I'm sorry to hear that, Ms. Whitaker. Very sorry.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And so at that time, you all were separated. You were no longer living together.
Wow, a lot of things did change. However, just as you can see, Whitaker felt like justice had not yet been done to the story of how she and Shrule got separated. Apparently, there is more to it than Shrule told the court. So let's hear Whitaker's version of what exactly happened back then.
I got taken into DHR custody. I was only 17. I was 8 months from being 18. Anyway, they put me with my aunt, and me and Christian were fighting all the time. I was hormonal, I was pregnant. His mother refused to let him come to my doctor's appointments.
Okay, hold that story right there. I want to get to it. So you're pregnant at the time when this fighting?
Yes, I'm pregnant. I found out I was pregnant exactly 1 month after my mother had passed away.
Again, Shrule's mother. It really starts to look like his mother indeed did have an issue with Whitaker because she keeps coming up in their testimonies. Meanwhile, Whitaker claimed that she was excited about her pregnancy because she thought that she could never get pregnant. However, the major problem here is how Shrule's mother supposedly reacted to the news of Whitaker's pregnancy, according to Whitaker. Here, take a look.
He told his mother, I could hear her screaming in the background, "Oh God, no, why? Kill me now, why?"
Really?
No.
She was screaming to the top of her lungs, and she took that moment from me. She took it from me because I was so happy I finally had a family even though I just lost mine, and she took my happiness.
Ms. Blackwell, you're Mr. Schroll's mother. Give your side of the story.
Them staying together and sleeping together.
Chilly, I don't know about you, but I can clearly see the cold attitude Whitaker spoke of. During her testimony, Blackwell, Shrule's mother, dropped a bomb in court. She alleged that Whitaker had admitted to her that there were 7 other possible fathers. However, Whitaker quickly shut down her accusation and explained to the court what the case really was.
There's only one other man that I slept with the month that I got pregnant. In our entire relationship, I didn't even sleep with 7 other people.
No, that's a lie right there.
What's a lie, Mr. Schroll?
That she only slept with.
You can say whatever you want to say, Christian, but you know because I told you before I even knew I was pregnant. I told you the day after I cheated on you.
Oh, how can he remember? Shrule is clearly done with Whitaker and is only here because the paternity involves him. He definitely wouldn't remember most things that relate to their relationship. Anyway, on Whitaker's calendar, every single day is outlined as the days she and Shrule were sexually intimate. However, there is also another date that stands out. Take a look at this.
Know that you had sex with Mr. Schroll all of these days, but then you had sex with another man somewhere around the 14th.
Yes.
You also have the A circle. Explain this. That is your alleged conception date?
Yes, ma'am.
Explain.
I have a picture of a sonogram and it said 20 weeks and 1 day, and we counted back 20 weeks and 1 day, and it was August 8th.
Well, so we now have another possibility apart from Mr. Schroll. When Whitaker admitted that the sexual intimacy she had with this new possibility was unprotected, it confirmed the judge's thoughts. However, Judge Lauren decided to move on from that to discuss the circumstances surrounding Whitaker's delivery day. Let's see what that's all about.
Was he there the day the baby was born?
Yes.
What happened is I get there and your little boyfriend at the time wants to talk all big over the phone and say how he's gonna kick my butt and all this.
My boyfriend never threatened you at all.
Wait a minute, when did we get a boyfriend?
After we had separated, I had started dating someone else.
Are you on the birth certificate?
No, ma'am.
No, I go there, he cuts the umbilical cord, he's on the birth certificate.
He didn't even cut the umbilical cord.
Slowly but surely, the truth is coming out. First, it was that Whitaker was intimate with the other possibility during her conception window. Next, Shrule's name is not even on the birth certificate. However, I get that Whitaker would react that way because, according to her, Shrule was AWOL since she got pregnant. She didn't get any support from him on her delivery day.
I woke up from my C-section. He wasn't even there. I woke up the next morning, and on Facebook, Christian had posted stuff all over Facebook about my boyfriend, about my family, saying baby mama drama already. I told him I don't want you to come back.
I wouldn't have even got to hold the baby if it wasn't for the doctors. I don't know the name
My
of the room.
aunt lets you in because she's the DON.
The nurse.
My
nurse.
My aunt is a nurse.
While Whitaker went on about the physical similarities she sees in Brinley and Schroll, Judge Lauren asked Schroll whether, after Brinley was born, he started to build a connection with her, or at least even try to see her. Here is what Schroll had to say in response to that question.
I honestly don't care to see her until I know for a fact she's mine, because there's multiple possibilities to it. That's
In other words,
why
I've
we're
been
here.
on my own for the past 2 years doing it all by myself. From 18 to 20, I've been doing it by myself.
This is why you have to be responsible for your own life. Young women have had to learn.
Yes, Your Honor, I know.
Mama's baby, Papa's maybe.
There is too much baby drama from people who are not even proper adults yet. Even I would be tired of hearing what they had to say. So, the judge is ready to reveal the truth about Brinley's paternity issue. Is Schroll really Brinley's father, as Whitaker claims? We'll find out shortly.
Mr. Schroll, you are her father.
I am.
Thank you.
Then I apologize.
Really nice to see. And I see tears in your eyes, Mr. Schroll. You feel emotional looking at your little girl?
I'm kind of upset about missing that little bit and putting her through what I did. Definitely gonna be there now. That's a fact.
Puckett and Glover are two women who gave birth around the same time, and even named their sons after the same man, Stephen Macon. Now, Glover is Macon's current girlfriend and they have a son. However, Puckett is at the court to prove that her own son truly belongs to Macon, seeing as he denies the paternity of her son. But what's the reason for his denial?
She got 5 kids by 5 different baby daddies.
And you could be the 6th.
No, I ain't. If we didn't have sex till like 3 months after, I wouldn't even have sex.
But you did have sex
Me
with her.
and Miss Glover, we wasn't together at the time.
Did you use protection?
Yes.
You did?
But it was.
Okay, but there was a malfunction.
Right. Before we even had sex, 3 weeks after I met her, she got my
Go
name
right upstairs
tattooed
to
on
the
her neck.
So they find out that Puckett is pregnant, and then what? According to Puckett, Macon was happy about her pregnancy and would always shower her with love. She also claimed that his love extended to him, massaging her belly frequently, excited that he had a baby on the way. For this last statement, Puckett provided the court evidence to back up her claim.
And I have a picture of him rubbing on my belly when I was
Let me
about
see
7
that
months.
picture. Jerome, will you hand it to me, please? Is this you, Mr. Macon? Are those your hands and your jacket?
Yeah.
So what do you have to counter this evidence that Miss Puckett is presenting?
It's not my child. No, she was sleeping around with a whole lot of people. I know it for.
Do you have any proof of that? Did you bring the court?
Man, we're about to witness another dramatic session again. Macon claims that he felt like Puckett got pregnant too fast, something he never expected, despite the fact that he was constantly having sexual relations with her. What a joker. Meanwhile, Puckett provided another piece of evidence to examine one of the points that she made in her testimony. Take a look at this.
Her baby, and my kids, we all gonna move in together if it was his. Then he sent me another one, said if it was his, it'd come out to be his, and we was gonna make love to the sunrise.
Right. I said that.
So you have evidence of that?
I have one of the evidence.
So this piece of evidence is a text.
Yes.
From Mr. Macon. If he is, like I said.
Why is he amused about this whole situation, though? I don't get it, do you? Anyway, the judge then asked Puckett to tell the court the details of what happened the day her son, Stephen Macon Jr., was born. Let's see what she had to say about it.
Was Mr. Macon there?
He came in, and he was looking at the baby, playing with my son. And then so he said, so what you naming him? I said, I'm naming him after my brother. I said, because that's what my grandma want me to do. No, you're not. You're not naming him that. You're not naming him that. You named him Steve. So he said, call the nurse. So I buzzed the nurse. The nurse was there as a witness, because the nurse got to be there at all hospitals before they let you sign anything, an affidavit or anything like that.
Of course, it doesn't. Yet, Macon hammered on his defense, claiming that Puckett's son isn't his. He also reiterated that he was not even there to sign the birth certificate, a document that Puckett confirmed he signed by himself. In fact, she provided the document at the court.
I have proof showing that he signed a birth certificate.
I'd like to see that. Now. Jerome, will you hand me that evidence, please? Certificate of live birth, child's name, Stephen Terrence Macon Jr., father, co-parents, current legal name, Stephen Terrence Macon. Is that you, sir?
No, I ain't saying that.
This court understands that sometimes we get a little less than the truth.
At this point, both their testimonies are confusing. One party provides a signed birth certificate, and the other claims that it was forged. I don't even know what to make of this, such as who is telling the truth and who is lying. Anyway, Glover has taken the stand next to her man to give her testimony. Let's hear what she has to say.
Miss Glover, we know that your child is named Stephen Macon Jr. as well.
Correct.
Do you believe Miss Puckett's child, Stephen Macon Jr., is in fact your boyfriend's biological child?
No, I don't believe that at all.
Why?
Can I start from the beginning?
Please
Her
do.
sitting here saying that she didn't know about me. Let me tell you, I was at work. I worked at a gas station, minding my own business. She sent some of her little...
Oh, it's about to go down. This woman has got no chill. But she wasn't even done yet. There's more.
Already heard about the Precious girl. So I'm like, your phone ringing, everything is starting to add up. Let me answer that for y'all in the plan. Hello, who's this? She like, my name is so-and-so. I used to live with Precious. It's sleeping with her. So I came to her door. I'm like, woman to woman, okay. He was like, oh no, don't go up there. So I'm already curious. I'm like, why doesn't he want me to go to this mysterious house if there's nobody there?
I have to say, Miss Glover is a little cuckoo. She is clearly upset with what's going on between her man and his supposed baby mama, which is expected. But at some point, some of the things she was saying to Puckett didn't make sense anymore. Like this one.
Cheers, I ain't never thought about getting no tattoo on me. You got 5 kids, but 3 weeks later, you go get a man tattooed on your back.
Miss Glover, she wouldn't have been prompted to fall in love enough to do something as silly as put his name on the back of her neck if he wasn't with her.
I mean, he can be with her all you want to be, but it's hard about...
So at some point, you have to acknowledge that he was with her.
3 weeks though.
Just like Judge Lauren said, it's evident that Glover was all out for Puckett, ready to discredit her no matter what. And the man who caused the whole thing was standing right in the middle of the two women, acting meek as a mouse. Even when Glover narrates how she found out about another child being named after him, he blatantly lies to the judge.
Girl named her baby after you. And I mean, he looked devastated like me. I mean, literally, he dropped down like, you got to be kidding me.
When you told him this information, you truly thought he was genuinely surprised.
Exactly.
To hear that she had named her child Stephen Macon Jr.
He stood
So, Mr. Macon, was this the first time?
Yet, Macon vehemently denies being the one who signed the certificate, even to this moment. Everyone has had enough of the lies and drama, and we just need to hear the result of the DNA test.
Mr. Macon Sr. are his father.
She's talking about some that's your baby that y'all can go have sex on into the sunlight.
Your jerk factor is on 10, Mr. Macon. I'm not gonna lie. You have gotten on my last nerve today.
She said it's a possibility it's yours. I know that, you know what I'm saying? Then she was like, I had sex with my ex or whatever like that. So she was like, it's a possibility it could have been him too.
I found out she stopped taking the birth control. The first thing I done was I gave my son some condoms because she has 6 kids already and I know she's fertile.
Get ready for an explosive session in paternity court, featuring one of the most heated cases to ever enter the courtroom. Over here, we have the intense dispute between Mr. Nelson and Ms. Thomas, where accusations fly and tempers flare. Making this a battleground of wills and personal, Nelson marched into the courtroom burdened with years of uncertainty about her father's identity. She was told one story her entire life, only to have it turned upside down when Mr. Sterling appeared out of nowhere with a shocking claim that he was her real father. The air was electric as everyone waited for. From the moment Mr. Sterling took the stand, the story took a sharp turn. He wasn't there just to stir the pot. He came with bombshell revelations that he used a fake name online to hide his identity due to personal issues. He laid out his history with Miss Nelson's mother, talking about young love, another curveball that sent ripples through the courtroom. He revealed he was actually the man listed as Vincent Preston Nelson on the birth certificate. Yes, that Vincent Nelson. The crowd gasped and whispers flew thick and fast as the reality of his statement sank in. What had been anxiously awaiting was upon us. The unveiling of the DNA results. The courtroom was thick with anticipation, with accusations and revelations thrown from every direction. The final truth was just moments away from Nelson's biological father, or was there another twist waiting in the shadows of this already convoluted family drama?
Mr. Sterling
brings us deep into the heart of a paternity dispute that blurs the lines between truth and perception. Here, we meet Ms. Murray and Mr. Lee, two figures entangled in a conflict over the paternity of 14-month-old Winter. This is a case marked by accusations, denial, denial, and the quest for identity in a complicated past.
Ms. Murray, you are here today to get Mr. Lee to stop denying that he fathered your 14-month-old daughter, Winter. You demand he man up and own up to his responsibility after today's DNA test. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Lee, you had a one-night stand with Ms. Murray before her pregnancy, but claimed she later confirmed she was not pregnant by you. You admit to one night, but state she had multiple men and there's no way you are her child's father. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Murray stormed into the courtroom with a singular goal: to compel Mr. Lee to accept responsibility for Winter. Right from the start, the tension was palpable. Mr. Lee was adamant. He wasn't the father. He dismissed his brief encounter with Ms. Murray as a fleeting mistake, complicated further by her alleged relationships with other men. The stage was set for an intense showdown, as both parties braced for a fierce battle over the truth.
I'll start with you, Ms. Murray. Tell us why you opened your case today.
Well, basically, Your Honor, Mr. Lee is a deadbeat. He has not done anything for Winter.
That's ludicrous. I have 6 other kids.
Exactly.
And I am not the father of her baby. She wants this because she's trying to pin this baby on me because she know I'm a good guy and I'm a good father.
You're not a good anything. You're a deadbeat. You barely take care of them 6 kids that you got. So...
And Winter's 15 months, and you're saying that Mr. Lee hasn't done anything for?
He has not done nothing.
As Ms. Murray laid out her case, the atmosphere thickened. She described a decade-long acquaintance with Mr. Lee that turned intimate one fateful night. Mr. Lee countered every claim with sharp denials, declaring Ms. Murray as a schemer. As accusations flew and tempers flared, the courtroom buzzed with anticipation and dread.
So all of this because you're denying paternity, Mr. Lee?
Yes, I have multiple reasons on why. When she sent me the video of her taking the pregnancy test, she said, "So y'all won't think I'm lying?" And she peed on the stick and sent it to me. And I was like,
basically, I
y'all.
said so nobody won't think that I'm lying
But
about
who is
being
y'all?
pregnant. So that I was not trying to have any kids ever. So to get pregnant was a surprise. And this is your child.
And in your mind, because you said y'all, that means more than one person, AKA more than one father.
Yeah, and she's admitted that. So I don't even know how we here.
The tension hit a boiling point as they delved into the specifics of their encounters, the golden rule about condoms, the alleged setup by Ms. Murray, and the vehement denials by Mr. Lee. It was clear this was more than just a paternity test. It was a battle for truth amid a series of doubt and accusation.
I came over, and unfortunately, I broke the golden rule.
You broke the what?
The golden rule.
The golden rule?
Yes.
What's the golden rule?
You never use the stripper's condom. Never.
It was not mine, baby. It
Oh,
was yours.
Oh, the golden rule is
Yeah.
you never use a condom that the stripper gives you.
Yeah, you bring your own, and I
Did
can't.
you know that rule, Jerome?
No, but it's good to
Nobody knows that rule but him. Nobody know that rule but him. He just made that up. Who helped
Did
you make that
anybody
up?
else out there know that rule?
Somebody help him make. Oh, okay. Thank you.
Now, the moment of truth was upon us. The courtroom held its breath as the DNA results were ready to be unveiled. Emotions ran high, the air thick with suspense. Could the DNA test cut through the web of accusations to reveal the father of little Winter? Or was there yet another revelation ready to shake the foundations of what everyone thought they knew?
Mr. Lee, you are the father.
That was your baby say.
It has been determined by this court that you made a baby with showbiz, so it's time for some lights, camera, and action.
That baby. Look at her. She's beautiful. She looks just like you, baby. Really? You really?
She's a
tried to
beautiful
play
little
this
girl. She's 15 months old. She's missed out on 15 months with her daddy. That's your baby. And from the testimony, I understand that you have many children. But I know one thing. You don't have no business up in nobody's club giving nobody no tips. You need to tip these children.
Strap in for a courtroom drama about broken trust as familial bonds are put on trial. Yes, this is the famous case of Mitchell versus Dalton. Here, we find Mr. Mitchell grappling with doubt and seeking clarity on the paternity of 2 young children, Deshaun Jr. and Bishop, amid a crumbling marriage. The stakes are sky high, with custody and a man's peace of mind hanging in the balance.
Mr. Mitchell, you are petitioning the court for 2 DNA tests to determine if you are the father of your estranged wife's 2 children, 2-year-old Deshaun Jr. and 1-year-old Bishop. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
You currently have custody of the 2 boys, so the stakes of today's results couldn't be higher.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Dalton, you admit you cheated on your husband, and today you're here hoping to salvage what's left of your marriage. Is
Yes,
that
Your
correct? Mr. Mitchell, so you have custody. Today's results obviously mean a lot to you.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Mitchell comes forward, custody papers in hand, bearing the weight of a father's love and the sting of betrayal. He recounts the turmoil of the past months. His wife, Ms. Dalton, has left the family home multiple times, her infidelity leaving scars too deep to hide. The courtroom's atmosphere is electric with anticipation and empathy as he speaks of his struggles and the emotional toll of raising 2 boys amid uncertainty.
She done put us through hell and back. She just don't care, Your Honor. So I just want to know the paternity of my kids just for my sake, Your Honor, because
And it hurts you because you truly don't know.
I really don't, Your Honor. And like I said, she's running back and forth and she's cheating and this and that, Your Honor. If she wants a divorce, Your Honor, I got these divorce papers. We could go ahead and divorce it and keep it moving. She could keep it moving. I could keep it moving and continue to go with my kids, Your Honor, like I've been doing the last 8 or 9 months, Your Honor.
You say your family is destroyed because you're saying she's in and out of the home and you have the boys.
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Dalton admits to her transgressions, but contests the sympathetic story he is building. She argues that their marriage was full of neglect on both sides, and that her departures were acts of desperation, not abandonment. The tension rises as she tries to explain her side, her voice a mix of regret and defiance.
The last altercation that we had when we were gone for the 7 months, that's when that happened. I couldn't deal with it.
When there was an issue,
yes, I did.
You admit you left.
Yes, Your Honor.
But did you run into the arms of another man
No,
when
Your
you
Honor.
left? You didn't?
Yes,
No,
you did,
Your
Your
Honor.
Honor. Yes,
I
you
said
did.
I was living with my sister.
So
Your Honor.
during the time,
With a man
during
that
the
was sitting
time
over there
you
with her
all were
every day.
together, you were in your relationship, did you sleep with another man?
In the beginning, yes. But since we've been married, no.
She was just with another man, Your Honor, so we're still married. I don't
And
know.
we were separated, and we both agreed on the separation.
Honor.
We weren't together. We were going to move on
Your
with
Honor, I
our
don't talk
lives.
to her, so I
We
don't
were
know
going to
how we
move on
agreed
with our
the
lives with
separation.
divorce.
I never talked to her.
As accusations fly and defenses are mounted, the children's future remains uncertain. Mr. Mitchell's voice breaks as he discusses the possibility of raising children who may not be his own. The air is thick with suspense as both parents lay bare their pain under the watchful eye of Judge Lake, who navigates their testimonies with a steady hand.
You with the 2 boys.
Yes, ma'am.
And you don't even know if they're your biological children.
Yes, ma'am.
What is your doubt based on, specifically, for each child? So let's start with Deshaun.
When I met her off of Facebook, Your Honor. She was already staying with another guy, Your Honor. I didn't know at the time. I happened to end up finding out once we was over my sister's house. And, you know, some guy calls her phone, Your Honor. It's her cousin. That's what she says. It's my cousin, you know. So when I said, okay, well, we'll call your cousin back, because the way she was talking to her demeanor, it seemed funny. And like I said, I'm much older than her. So like I said, I done been there and done that, you know, trying to run these little game on.
The moment of truth approaches, and the courtroom braces for the impact. DNA results are ready to reveal the biological father of the children. Could this be the closure Mr. Mitchell seeks, or will it open new wounds? Will the tests mend a family or mark the end of Mr. Mitchell's hopes? Let's find out.
Mr. Mitchell, you are Bishop's father. Mr. Mitchell, you are Deshaun's father. I can see that smile is genuine. You're happy to know.
Yes, Your Honor, I am, and I appreciate it, Your Honor. It's just all the lies and stuff she put me through, Your Honor, and I'm gonna try to put this behind. If she really wants to go to counseling and really wants to try to make it work, I'm willing to do that, Your Honor.
Where do you want to go from here?
I wanted to work on our marriage. I'm the one who suggested counseling.
This episode of Paternity Court promises another complex dispute over paternity involving Mr. Jones and Ms. Milan. With a child's future hanging in the balance, the courtroom is tense. Both parties stand ready to confront their shared past, marked by intimacy, deceit, and doubts. This drama brims with emotional upheavals and legal confrontations, promising revelations that could shake the very foundations of a makeshift family.
Mr. Jones, you and your mother are co-plaintiffs who have brought the defendant, Ms. Milan, to court to prove her 3-month-old son, Quanil Jr., is not your biological child.
Yes, Your Honor.
You claim you took Ms. Milan and her other 6 kids into your home, and now she's trying to take you for a ride by claiming this baby is yours.
Yes, Your Honor.
Additionally, you say when today's DNA results prove you are not the father, you are seeking $1,500 for housing and child care expenses.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Jones, along with his staunchly supportive mother, stands firm in his claim. He is challenging the paternity of 3-month-old Quinnell Jr., asserting that Ms. Milan has manipulated him into a fatherly role for her extensive brood. Mr. Jones is not just contesting paternity, he's also seeking recompense to the tune of $500 for housing and childcare expenses. His voice, filled with a mix of frustration and betrayal, resonates through the courtroom as he details the sacrifices he has made.
Talk to her about me or whatever like that.
And then how'd this relationship begin?
When I first, moved home with my mom, I noticed him. She was like, this Mr. Jones, he lived next door. We started, just on a friendly note, hey, how you doing? We'll sit out, we'll talk, laugh, joke. I go back in, tend to my kids. Eventually he started I could tell it was a little more flirting going on. Like he'd be like, why don't you come watch a movie sometime? Or, I wasn't taking him very seriously because it is an age difference between me and Mr. Jones.
So why were you entertaining this?
We started off, we were just friends. I'll go outside, smoke, he'll play with the boys.
Across the aisle, Ms. Milan, the defendant in this emotional litigation, admits to her infidelity, but she fiercely maintains that Mr. Jones is the biological father of her youngest child. Her testimony is a narrative of need and desperation, against the backdrop of her other 6 children's faces, each a silent witness to the unfolding drama. She pleads her case to clear her name and cement the paternal bond she insists exists between Mr. Jones and her infant son.
It was so much going on at that time. That's when I got so upset when I seen the text. I hadn't even been thinking about the ex. She had been out the picture this time for a sec. The ex always superior.
So now when you're living with Miss Jones, the baby's born or you're pregnant?
No, this is before the baby's even conceived.
Even before conception.
Or maybe why. Conception could have happened then.
Mr. Jones, you took your one girlfriend and her kids, moved them into your mother's house, and then went with your ex.
Yes, pretty much. That's what
Yes,
he did.
Your Honor. Like you said, I'm young. It's a big age difference. I started getting a little...
The atmosphere is electric as each testimony adds layers to the story. Mr. Jones describes how he welcomed Ms. Milan and her children into his home, providing shelter and stability when they were most vulnerable. His mother, with protectiveness flashing in her eyes, corroborates his story. She claims that her son is a victim of Ms. Milan's deceit. She recalls the heartbreak and helplessness in her son's eyes at the hospital post-birth.
And by him leaving, I was like, okay, why am I doing this and you're not even here? And my reason for doing it was for you.
Yeah.
Right. And so you say she's trying to trap your son.
I felt like she was trying to trap my son because she stopped taking her birth control. She said it was making her sick, but she should have started another birth control instead of stopping it altogether.
What would be her motive to trap your son?
She want to be with him.
She wants to have him in her life. Is that true, Ms. Mylan?
No.
Why'd you stop taking birth control?
I was sick. It was just making me sick.
And so how did you find out she was pregnant?
She called and told me.
Through tears and defiant glares, Ms. Milan speaks of her past struggles with health and housing. Her voice trembles as she details the complexity of relationships and decisions that led her to Mr. Jones's doorstep. She speaks of the initial platonic friendship that blossomed unexpectedly into more, emphasizing her vulnerability and the solace she found in Mr. Jones's presence around her children.
I was around him at the time. I was feeling sick and I was like, I knew I hadn't been out there that long also. But I did go to the store and get a pregnancy test and it came out positive. I ended up telling Mr. Jones also. And he did his talking or whatever, but he ended up texting and was like, okay, regardless of what, if that's my child, I do want to be around. Let me know when you go to the doctor.
So you were there participating like the father. Did you sign the birth certificate?
No, I told him not to.
I didn't sign anything because I wanted the DNA test first.
Well, that was smart.
Yeah, my son cried, Judge.
As the testimonies wind down, the courtroom braces for the climactic unveiling of the DNA results. The judge calls for decorum as she prepares to dissolve the clouds of doubt hanging over the courtroom. Mr. Jones's face is masked with fear, ready to brace a verdict that could either free him from unwanted obligations or anchor him deeper into the role of a father.
He cried. He literally broke down at this hospital. He literally cried and broke down because he was going to be devastated. And I felt his pain. I could literally feel his pain. That's why I contacted the court to help her because I wanted him to be sure.
And when you say he isn't sure, can you explain to me what the doubt is exactly?
My brother passed in July the 16th of last year. And during that time is around the time that she got pregnant. And she came to give her condolences and everything, but she came with another man.
I drove.
And on another occasion,
I was driving.
I'm at a friend's house playing dominoes. It's a guy come to that house. It's like a different street.
The results are in, and the courtroom holds its collective breath. Will this makeshift family be mended, or will it get turned upside down? Only the judge's final word will tell.
Mr. Jones, you are not the father. I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry. I didn't know.
Yeah, I'm like,
You okay, Mr. Jones?
I'm ready to go.
I'm sorry. I hope you will find comfort in knowing that you did the right thing. You may have gotten wrong or right in the relationship with Miss Mylan. You did right by this beautiful baby. As for your suit, Ms. Jones, for $1,500 for the room and board and for all of the expenses related to the child,